Hi everyone, welcome aboard. I hope that you can all hear me nice and clearly. We're going to be doing mini reads again. I put a few little notations in the upper part of the post, and hopefully you can all see that as well. It's really important during these sessions that you try very hard to keep your focus to questions that are relevant to yourself, okay? It's really important to not overly ask about other people because they haven't given consent. So that all said, moving forward, if you do have any questions, let's get some shout outs and let's start that moving. Hi Michelle, nice to see you. Hi Tammy, hi Kim. Again, if I happen to get drawn to you, the fact that you've put your name down in the listing here is also an acknowledgement that you give consent. And if I am drawn to you and there doesn't happen to be a question, they may still choose you. So please do keep that in mind. So that all said and done, gorgeous, everyone's giving nice little hellos and so forth here. Hi Angela, how you going? Hi Nicole, hi Janice, how you going there? Hope you're all having a really good, productive day. We've put here Crystal asking for general. Del, just take a quick note at my notation about doing generals. Generals make it really hard under these sort of circumstances because my guides, they want short, sharp, quick questions that we can really just get into answering. I don't use cards, so anybody asking anything about cards, I am the instrument. So pretty much it's what spirit feels they need to say and how they need to say that. Wendy, I need to come to you for a moment here. You're asking about selling a house, which is gorgeous. Even though I don't have cards, I can still answer that question for you. They do tell me that it's something that you've been focusing on. You've done a little bit of decluttering and a little bit of cleaning up outside areas and so forth, and just getting a few things on track. You have had it previously valued and so on, so you do have some idea of what you're looking for in the sense of value. The question mark for me is the signage. So maybe we haven't quite settled on exactly who we want to actually sell that house with, but they are showing me when we get around to selling it, which you definitely will, the outcome will be a positive one. So this is good to know. You'll be doing quite well with that sale. It will take a little bit of time, but then the house does pick its owner, not an owner picking its house. So you're all on the right track there, Wendy, okay? Michelle saying something, yes, I do. I'm not really sure what she's saying yes, I do to, but okay. We've got Carol saying hi. Someone asking again for general read. Hello from Sweden. Hi, Sweden. Can I have a reading? Michelle saying she's wanting a reading. We can do readings, but we're looking for short, sharp, quick questions. Here's a reading. Thanks. Okay, cool. Thanks, Michelle. Just think through what your question might be. We've got Rosanna here. May I please have a career reading? Rosanna, they tell me that there was a little bit of focus on looking at some extra study and wanting to just elevate a little bit of your personal goals there. They do tell me that there's already a shift on the horizon and that there has been a little bit of circulation for resume and so on. There is still work currently for you. It hasn't been the most ideal environment though. So they're just telling me that you've got to apply a little bit of patience with all of that, not rush into it, okay? So be a little bit more patient. Okay, so we've got here, house hunting. Will I find something fairly soon? Amanda Jane, they do tell me that it's been a little bit of a long-winded process with the house selling side of, the house hunting side of things. There has been a couple little delays and so forth, and there was a couple of little bits and pieces to do with financials and so forth, but they're telling me now things are starting to create momentum again, and that there's a slight redirection in the location. They're telling me there was a slight redirection in the location, but now you're on the right path and on the right track. So yes, you'll definitely be finding something reasonably soon, love. So again, just a bit more patience there. All right. What's installed for the next month? I'm going to move to a new apartment. A transfer coming up. Just want to know if it'll be successful. Crystal's asking about a transfer coming up. Just want to know if it'll be successful. Crystal, you're a little bit overwhelmed by all the decision making that's come about with this. It's kind of moved a little bit faster than what you probably originally anticipated. But when I'm looking at the mindset and where you're at and how to get it all back on track, I'm being shown, yep, there she is. She's got it all, the ducks in a row. being a little bit overthinking. They're telling me she's just being a little bit overthinking, but yet she's actually got it all sorted. So yes, Del, nice successful transition for you. A little bit overloading to start with. I can see that there's a lot that you're going to be taking on board initially. Once you kind of settle in, everything's kind of got a little bit of a rhythm and a little bit of a pattern, then everything does move along and falls into place. So no, your transfer will be really, really good for you. Great opportunity, also from a career and a financial point of view. So a little bit of extra money coming in there as well. So that's great to see there. Moving along. Okay. Let me see. Gosh, it's moving along really quite quickly and I can't keep up with all the messages coming in. Sorry, everyone. Okay. I think it's Kayla Dean. I think I'm saying it right, Dal. You're asking about a job soon and be more financial. Kayla, I feel your frustration with the job hunting side of things. It's been a little bit long-winded for you, love. You did jump about a little bit because of other things that kind of interfered with the decision-making. There was a couple of, we'll call it family matters, relationship things, etc. You kind of dropped the ball a little bit on your own personal goals, your own passions, your own desires. It's only now that you've come back around to going, okay, what do I want? Where do I want to be? How do I foresee my future? Now that you're kind of allowing all of that to, I guess, realign up, they're showing me the job opportunities will start to happen again. The positive side of you is back on track because your confidence was a little bit down. And then they're showing me with that transition, also the financial options come in. You're a little bit backwards with your financials, but again, a lot of that had to do with relationship and other matters that were all kind of entwined. But that all seems to be on the right track now. So happy to see that moving along. Sorry, I'm just having a quick read along here. How renovations will progress this year. So Louise Swinton is asking about how can, hello, can you please let me know how our renovations will progress this year? Sorry, the light's shining on top of the screen, so it's a little bit hard to read. There was a couple of different renovations that got put on hold. Okay, they're telling me that got put on hold. It wasn't anything to do with what you guys were, I guess, actioning yourselves. It was to do with other parties that were involved. Something that's like a wet area. I'm either in a kitchen or in a bathroom or something along those lines. They do show me that's all getting back on track. And then there's something that's almost like an extension from like the back area. They're showing me these will all happen. You've reassessed the priorities of which parts need to come first. And that's really good to see that you've sat with yourself and that you're not trying to financially overcommit. There was a few other little hiccups there, which it's nice to see that that's back on track. Hi, Tamara. Nice to see you, love. We've got a few other little bits and pieces here. Guys, you're keeping it all too general, which isn't helpful. We really need a solid question in order for us to really just get into them as quickly as we possibly can. Okay. Oh, we've gone to the bottom here. And, okay. Laura Lou, hi, how are you? I'm on the track, messages coming in. Thanks. Again, Laura, you've been a little bit general there. On the right track with what in particular? There is some work stuff coming up around you and some something to do with business and other bits and pieces, but you need to ask the question a little bit more directly. We've got Vicky Verney here. Would love some direction, work and finance. Vicky, first of all, looking at the finance part of it, they do show me that most things are actually in order. You've had to go backwards boards to clean up a few things, and now that everything's starting to look a little bit more like in control, if I can say it that way, they're showing me, yep, here it is, it's all back on track. Okay, so it will be all fine here. In regards to the directional work, they do show me that there is some work here currently for you. It just hasn't been an environment that you've been overly content in. They do show me that you're actively looking at transitioning, moving along, but then finding that right place that you get to stay and really look at it from retirement, like not having to transition again, not having to move again. They show me that you're after that stability, you're after that security, you're after knowing that what it is you end up doing next is where you get to stay without drama, without fuss, without confusion. So you're definitely on the right track with wanting to transition and wanting to make movement. So heading that in the right direction, my love, okay? Keep going, keep going. Please don't ask for general people. We really need it to be a direct question. Sarah Louise Trower, I think is how you say it. What self-care do I need to do tonight to re-energize? Look, there are so many different options, Sarah, of what you could do to re-energize, and a lot of it is thinking through routine, thinking through making patterns. Everything that we do when we get up in the morning really is like a ritual, and when we want to re-energize ourselves, it's like adding to that ritual, whether it be putting your phone on the charger, and that's a ritual, whether it's brushing your teeth, washing your hair. We have a certain pattern to doing all of those things that actually does help re-energize us. It's when we fall away from those patterns, or when we slowly start to redirect ourselves, that's when it becomes a little bit more complicated. So if I was in your position to re-energize tonight, I would run a really nice hot bath, soak yourself in it, cleanse yourself of today's energy, and, you know, sit with yourself in that beautiful bathing moment. Or alternatively, go for a really nice walk in nature and re-energize yourself that way. So there's a couple of different options there for you, love, okay? I've got somebody saying, worried about my mum, alone in Sydney. Will she ever join us? Megan Smidley or Walken Smidley, worried about my mum living alone in Sydney. Will she ever join us? Megan, the thing with your mum is she is actually a very independent person, and while I can definitely see your concerns and your reservations for why you would want her to relocate, or why you'd want her to come and stay with you, there is a big part of her feeling that she's going to lose a bit of the connections of people around her that she currently has, as well as losing that independence. I don't feel it's a situation of never making that decision with you. I just don't feel that right now it's a decision that she's quite willing to make. I think part of her says, well, you know, my independence means I'm not a burden. And even though she knows that she wouldn't be a burden to you, that whole control thing and that whole letting go, she really does struggle with that, Dal. So a little bit of patience, and I think just a matter of planting the seed for her and allowing her that opportunity then to come back to it and say, okay, I'm ready now. Maybe we try it for a period of time and then see what comes of that. Okay, best of luck with her, Dal. Very strong-willed woman. I can see her stubbornness really digging her heels into everything there. Okay. We've got, hi sister, first time with you, join us this week, contact my new career. Kerry Burgess, you've put down here about getting my contract for my new career. They're telling me that there's two options on the table for you in regards to the career or the contract. One of the contracts appears to be a little bit we'll call it short term, maybe it's a 3-month kind of contract. The other one appears similar, but with like an ongoing option. you're going to be given the opportunity between these two contracts to make a decision. You're definitely on the right path with it though. So all they're saying here is you're going to have to apply a little bit of patience with it. Try not to have expectations for answers to come too quickly, and that's nothing to do with you. That's more to do with a little bit of what's going on in the back end in regards to how those contracts need to be written up. But you're definitely on the right track with it. Okay, so keep going with where you're at and what you're doing. We've got Sarah Bell McKinnon. Work is really tough this year. Is that a sign to change to something else? Sarah, right now, change is definitely inevitable when I'm looking at where you're at. They do show me that on the horizon there's some movement coming forward. They're just asking you to sit with yourself and really outline what it is that you want now, because you're jumping around a little bit with the career choices and the decisions. And they keep telling me you're really strict with the hours, like the hours have to fit inside spectrum or lifestyle or everything else that you're kind of doing. So not to just jump at the next thing, making sure that when you transition, when you move on to that next decision, it's ticking all the boxes for you, because they tell me that with this particular job that you're currently doing, you actually settled for it, okay? It wasn't initially what you wanted to do, but you did it because the alternatives at the time weren't available. Right now, you are in a position to be a little bit picky and a little bit choosy, okay? So again, don't rush your decision. Take your time, okay? Sorry, feeling a little bit like I can't work out where I'm up to. Got Melissa Bell. Hello, do you see me moving house? Melissa, there's definitely boxes around your doll. You've already started actively putting it out there. They keep showing me, yep, she's getting all those things together now. Again, thinking a little bit about location, thinking about how all those things affect every other aspect of your space. I wouldn't be rushing at the first thing that jumps at you, though. They're telling me it's okay to pass on certain things, trying not to have an emotional attachment to this decision. This is a strategic one to benefit all aspects for you, in particular financial, in particular location, and other elements that are in your environment. This is not just a move for the sake of moving, okay? So you're definitely on the right track there. They're just telling me you need to tweak it a little bit, get a few things resolved so that everything is collectively for the benefit of the whole big picture. Does that make sense? We're jumping from maybe this direction because that will give me this, this, and this, or maybe that direction because it'll give that, that, and that. They're saying too many different decisions. Narrow it down. Your priority list is great. Like, you know exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it, but then you're also putting it out in too many directions. So zoning it down a little bit or trimming it down to make that decision making a little bit simpler. Laura Lou, you're asking about your health, love. Is my health going to improve? Laura, there's a couple of different things going on in your health. It's not a straightforward of will it improve. They're telling me it's going to take a number of different things in order for that improvement to get there. Part of that will be changes and shifts in dietary, which have already started. They're also showing me implementing elements of gentle movement and or exercise. So that could be things like yoga, that could be things like going for a walk, energy. They keep telling me running on empty, needing to find methods and ways to bring up her energy. So there is a little bit of fatigue elements going on there, a little bit in the digestive system and so on. There was also a little bit of concentration around weight loss or wanting to chisel off some of that extra bits and pieces that doesn't make you feel confident and comfortable in yourself. But it's all self-work. So they're telling me everything that you have to do has to be self-work, which you're already starting to do. And the minute you start giving yourself that love and you start giving yourself that focus, naturally improvement does come about. It just means you have to work at the improvement. It can't be that simple as waking up in the morning and going, okay, I'm all good now. They're reminding you, you need to be better with patterns, rhythms, and routine. So that tells me eating regime needs to be better. You jump between your eating regime. Sometimes you have breakfast, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have lunch, sometimes you don't. Sometimes the meals are a little bit kind of quick and easy, and then other times there's detail to it. So they're just sort of saying you need to be a little bit more regimented with all of that. And if you get that on point, then absolutely your health will improve, doll. Okay. So we're going to keep moving here. We've got COVID Navo asking about like to know if I'll find another job anytime soon. Lost my job. Sorry to hear that you lost your job, doll. Unfortunately, that's a circumstance that's not ideal. They do show me that emotionally it has definitely played on you and toyed on you. The way it's kind of come about and how it all kind of outplayed, again, wasn't ideal. More to do with management, more to do with bumping heads with other people as well, but also current circumstances that's happening, I guess, on a global level. They do show me that you've started to actively look for other things now, which is really, really good. They do show me not too far off into the distance that new work is on the horizon, and also better working conditions, because the conditions that you're working in prior wasn't ideal, but you were sucking it up, if you will, grinning and bearing it, clocking on, doing what you had to do, clocking off, going home. Trying really hard not to get involved in the politics, but unfortunately it wasn't something that you could avoid. But they are telling me that the next environment does hold really great opportunities for you, doors opening, showing me when we get through those doorways, then again, new opportunities coming from that. So you can stay there for a period of time, which again is really good to know. Melissa Bell, you're more than welcome, sweetheart. Janine, you're asking a question about whether your husband will come back to you or not. I don't answer really private questions like that in a public platform. It's a little bit unfair to the other person that may or may not have given consent. I would highly recommend, if you want to know about that, it's more of a situation that you discuss it with me more privately. Leonie, you're asking about your dad. It says, my dad passed last year. Didn't get to speak with him as he was overseas. Do you feel any messages for me, please? Leonie, I'm really sorry to hear about your dad and that inability to connect with each other based on the overseas circumstances. I am being told that there's no need for a goodbye from him because there was no unfinished business between you guys. It's an unfortunate situation where his health had escalated reasonably quickly, and there was no room for the alternative, if we can put it that way. But I am being told to let you know that he is at peace, okay? There was some issues with his health, in particular in the chest cavity, and also elements to the heart as well. There was more than one complication I'm being shown, and it wasn't an ideal situation, okay? But he does want you to know that he is content with not having had closure with you, because at the end of the day, when you made your decision to relocate, live your life, and do the things that you were doing, he was already happy to see that you were happy, because that was his greatest joy. So you already made him happy, content, and proud, okay? Donna, will I resolve the issues with my current manufacturer? Poopy. Donna Edie, Unfortunately, with this particular manufacturer, they really are making matters quite difficult. I am being shown that at the moment, what I see on paper, as far as documentation and contract and dollar values, it keeps moving around a little bit. And something that was done incorrectly, I'm being told they're not necessarily coming to the party to rectify. I can't envision that they're necessarily going to budge from that decision, Dal. All I can tell you is that, as far as I can see, the only outcome that they're wanting is equal party to take a component of the responsibility, and then equal parties finding new methods and solutions to move forward. Whether or not you choose to deal with them again moving forward, I hardly doubt that you will. I'm being told that they're making something that really doesn't need to be so complex, very complicated. It's not an ideal situation, hun. Okay, so I definitely would be looking at alternative methods if possible, or alternative manufacturers and or suppliers if possible. Sorry, just pushing along, pushing along. If it's not a direct question, guys, I can't answer you. Please make sure that you're asking it as a question. Karen Jones, will I get the job that I applied for today? Karen, I'm being told that you're definitely up there in the top tier. So you've definitely come in as the top 5 in that listing. Reference, resume, everything is looking really, really positive, Dal. I think right now you have to just hold your breath and put it out there, because it's such a die-hard situation where certain people are really pushing for jobs and so on. I'm being told that you interviewed well, Dal. Please do remember that given the fact that you're in that top tier, you're doing exceptionally well. Resume is really, really healthy. Knowledge, information, context of the discussions and conversations with that panel of people. There was 2 different people present in that process. Again, you've answered really articulately. At this stage, it's looking promising, honey. I can't guarantee it at the moment because there's more than one decision maker. But if I was to suggest the main decision maker is definitely looking very favorable on you as a personality that would fit well inside their group. So best of luck. That all goes really well for you, Dal. It is looking well, though, as an overall. Oh, Stephanie Errol, will I be able to get to my boyfriend without being forced to take a vaccine? Sweetheart, at this moment, the whole vaccine thing is really, really tricky. Some places will definitely force the vaccine to be part and parcel of travel. Other places will leave it a little bit ambiguous. At this stage, it's a little bit tricky, sweetie. You're coming in way too early for those decision-making processes with vaccine. There's multitude of government bodies involved with that, and a lot of different things that go into place before those decisions can be solidly made. For now, what I would be saying to you is, rather than thinking about all the different what ifs and maybes about this, we keep the focus on maintaining the relationship, even though we're separated and we can't physically be with each other. The best relationships are ones that can be apart from one another, but still communicate like there was no difference in time. Okay. Michelle's asking, does it look like I'll get a motorhome this year? Michelle, it's definitely something that you've got your eye set on, which is great to see. They're telling me that there's just going to be a few little hiccups with some of the financials. So it may not necessarily be a situation of it occurs in this year as in 2021, but we might get all the appropriate financials and so forth sorted so that come into in 2021 into 22, we know exactly where we stand and what is the appropriate pricing value. They are questioning whether or not would a caravan be a little bit more suitable to give you the freedom and the flexibility to go off and do what you want to do without having to find parking, without having to find somewhere to put such a large vehicle out and about. But they're telling me that comes back down to your own personal choice. So Again, they're asking you to get your financials in order. It is looking promising though. There's no reason why financially you can't do it. It's more the lending criteria being a little bit difficult at the moment. And I feel that's more just to do with banking and lending and them not wanting anyone to overcommit given such uncertain times, okay? We've got Janet D. Lee Ray. Hi, is my job coming to an end? Janet, I haven't seen it coming to an end at this particular moment. There is some issues going on in the top end. So this is management. This is the senior parts of the business, definitely looking at how to financially get back on track. I haven't seen you come inside of that cutting list of removing people or disposing of people just yet. That doesn't mean that it might not happen in the future, but it's certainly not happening in the immediate moments. They are telling me that you're a little bit bored here and a little bit stagnant within that role anyway. So there is a part of you that's kind of wishing that, yes, you can be made redundant and it would be a nicer kind of package. And then the other part of you is like, no, I want to hold on for stability and the security. For the moment, they're saying just hold on, just try not to jump ahead of the decision making that's going on here. There is a bit of a financial bubble that they're working on to see how they can keep things moving along, and you're still part of that bubble, hun. So just a little bit more dealing with the politics on the top end, which you're not involved in. Let the decision making be done and dusted before you have a reaction to it all, okay? Donna Campbell, will I find a new love partner soon? Hi, Donna. Romantic relationship hasn't necessarily been a strong area for you, and I feel that's nothing really to do with you. You have this habit of picking people that really need a little bit of saving, but also don't want to be saved. They want advice, but they also don't want advice. Partnerships that can be a little bit righteous and they don't always think through their words and what they say. You are very strong as far as your personality goes, so there is a lot that you can put up with, and I can see in the past, patience, tolerance, you've really come a long way with all of that. But you're being really picky this time round. So when we think about new partner coming in, it is going to take a little while because they tell me that you've got this list of, we'll call it checklist for yourself, and you're not willing to waver from it, and nor should you, sweetheart, okay? So again, thinking through about partnership, thinking about who it is that you envision yourself being with, really being patient and waiting for that person. When that person does arrive, and it is still some time off into the future, I'm still a good 18 months away before I see that character coming into your space. But by then, all the things that you've needed to deal with and all the things that you've needed to look at that's to do with yourself is in order, and all the things that they've needed to do for themselves is also in order. And that way you're coming together as equal partner, equal shared space, and then as characters, you're growing together side by side. Much rather you find an equal suitor rather than just anybody, okay? Keep going. Sarah Louise Trower, is starting a business the right move for me? Sarah, you've got more than one business idea going on. Again, a lot of mental thought and not as much kind of getting it down on paper. I would really like to see a better outline of what does that look like, because at the moment, it's still kind of moving around quite a bit, and of course all businesses do move around a lot as you're kind of working through the bits and pieces and trying to navigate through what parts to start with. But they're saying here, you've known for a while what you want to do. It's more just getting on with it is a little bit more difficult. You using a few little excuses. So say, for example, money might be an excuse, or other commitments might be an excuse, but there's a lot of wasted time that you're doing. And so you need to really come back around to thinking about that wasted time and how to be a bit more productive with it. In business, you must work at least 1 hour a day to keep your business business moving, even if it's just a startup business, and then over time you increase it and increase it. I would like to see better writing down in a bit more of a business plan platform exactly what your expectations are of yourself, and then start to slowly work through that checklist, okay? The best way for me to describe that, as I would say to most other people who I deal with when we're looking at business, is thinking about the big picture of that business. What does it look like? Setting up some planning for that business, and then breaking that plan down into some solid goals, and then looking at what you can action today. And if we can get through what we can action and what we can do immediately to get business moving, then business always ends up working well, okay? But yes, business opportunity on the horizon for you, most definitely. And you've already technically started. You just need more navigation with it. But that all comes back down to physical, personal time that you're spending there, okay? Donna King, hello, will I get back to the Gold Coast? Donna, Gold Coast is very much your calling, sweetheart. That's very much home for you. It's still going to be some time off, so no rush and no urgency to kind of get there. But they're saying starting to plan it out, starting to mind map it, but wanting to do it in a way that financially it doesn't hinder you. But they keep telling me this for you is definitely something that no matter what I look at, you're always going to go back up there, sweetheart. Don't know what it is about that place, but it's definitely for you. So you're all good here. We've got Louise Lou Mueller here. I think I've said it right. Will I be buying a house this year, please? Louise, you've definitely got a lot of your financials in order. They do show me that there was something that you may have already gone for, but it didn't fall into place, or something along those lines, or something that you were attached to emotionally, but perhaps not all the financial part was ready. Something was a little bit amiss, and so there was a little bit of being disheartened or being a little bit disappointed in that exchange, but they keep showing me that you are still actively looking and still being engaged with the process. You know what you want, you know what you're looking for. They keep showing me in the mind's eye, you have a particular kind of feel for an area and a feel for a type of property. You just haven't found it yet. So again, I 100% agree, the right house hasn't presented itself for you. You do need to wait until you get along there, okay? But you're definitely going to do that. So that's all good. Where are we at? Sarah Louise, you're more than welcome, sweetheart. Sorry, new messages came in. It just bounced all the messages out of my way. Tamara and Brian Nevelson, I hope you can hear me, sweetheart. Needs some weight lifted off my shoulders from having anxiety. Sweetie, it's not a direct question, but I can still respond to this, okay? First and foremost, anxiety is when we think a lot about things that are out of our control, things that are happening futuristically, or things that we really would like to see an outcome to, but we just don't feel that the outcome is always happening the way in which we envision. Anxiety is very complex, because anxiety isn't something that we can simply just switch on and switch off. We can have anxiety even at times when we don't even realize we're having anxiety, or we can be stressed without realizing that we're stressed, right? I do feel that with your anxiety and everything that's kind of happening, it's not actually so much anxiety, it's more the fact that you feel overwhelmed and overloaded, right? So when you're feeling overwhelmed because there's one too many things on your plate, or overloaded because other people keep dumping on your plate, that's where you have to sit with yourself and say, okay, right now, what am I in control of? Okay, and only focus on that. And the one thing I can say that you're always in control of is breathing. Okay, it happens without you. You don't even think about it, and it's a continuous thing. Okay, so when you're feeling a little bit like you're moving too far ahead and overthinking absolutely everything, I just want you to come back to thinking about your breathing, okay? As much as I would like to say that some of those burdens that you're currently carrying will easily be lifted, it will take some time, babe, because it is one thing after another after another. They keep showing me in the outcomes with you currently. It's been one thing after another, and literally feeling like it's all imploding on you, rather than what normally happens for most people when they're feeling anxious or stressed. Everything builds up, and then they explode. They have a release. They let everything out. You tend to actually swallow it all down, sweetheart. So please be mindful of that, because it is a guaranteed way in order for any of us to create illness inside of our bodies. Okay, so please be mindful of that. All right. Sissy, you've asked a question, which again is of very personal sort of nature. I highly recommend that that's something that you ask in a private platform rather than in a public forum like this, okay? I do hope that with the emotional stress and strain that you've got going on, that you can at least resolve through your days, okay? Oh, Del Sarah, thank you so much, honey. Her message is such a pleasure listening to you. Direction in my life. Sweetheart, there's been a couple of different things that have altered the pathway a little bit for you. Some of that was previous relationships and other things that were kind of a little bit hectic. But they are showing me the pace of your world is starting to slow down, starting to look a little bit more ahead now and go, okay, I know my vision, I know my goals, I know what I want to achieve, what I want to accomplish, and not being so impatient with yourself. Because you are a bit of a perfectionist, sweetheart, and you do like everything to be a particular way, there is this huge part of you that's very much about high achievement, right? I love that even though the high achievement is there, you're not competing or comparing yourself against others. You're very much looking at your own path and saying, okay, I want to benefit and I want to benefit my life and I want to move myself in the right direction, which is basically the answer to your question is, in regards to the direction of your life, whether or not you're heading it in the right way. Absolutely you are. Just slow it down. I don't really know what your rush is or what your hurry is to feel like you've got to get so many different things done off your list. They're saying just know that it's great to have a list and that you've got some solid goals there. Prioritize on that list of the goals, which things are most important to start with, and then start to slowly cross them off as you get through them. But definitely going in the right pathway there, love, okay? Lots of extra things going on around you with family and also partnership and whatnot. But yeah, it's not really something I can answer in this particular situation, but you're definitely needing a little bit of a breath, we'll call it, okay? bit of time out for you. Sissy, again, asking a very private natured question. It's not really appropriate to answer it in this particular platform because it's unfair to all parties involved. More than happy for you to ask that in a separate sort of session away from a public platform. Let's try this. Someone saying here, please tell me, Catarona Brain, I think it is Brian. Please let me know if you can see my messages. It feels like you are missing my messages, please. I can see this one, sweetheart, but I can't see any other particular message that you might have asked directly. So if you can maybe just revisit it and we'll see how we can come with that. Okay. Sorry, just getting rid of a client trying to message in the background there. Sorry. Diane Clark, can I please have a reading guidance with family, please? Diane, in the majority of what I'm looking at family-wise, everything actually is under control and there's no real issues or dramas here as such. I think normal family dynamics, normal family, rivalry and so forth, and normal family banter. Again, it's a little bit of a general question because there's nothing particular that you're wanting to know in regards to family. But what I can say, safety, health, well-being, all of that all seems very much on track for your love. So again, just keep doing what you're doing. Oh, Tamara, you're more than welcome, sweetheart. Hi, from Papua New Guinea. How are you? Thank you for coming on live. Hope you have a great reading. Thanks. Okay, let me see. D. Patterson. D, come back to it with an actual question, please, love. That would be awesome. Danny, the same as you, sweetheart. Come back with a solid question. Kimberly Dobbs, will I get the money due to me? Kimberly, I would love to tell you that I see this money coming back into your hands. Unfortunately, I don't feel that the individual who owes the money is going to make good on that contract. Part of that contract being that it was a verbal agreement rather than necessarily something completely in writing. I think initially they had good intentions, and I think it was their, I guess, true belief that they would repay this. I think that their circumstances in their own personal space has gotten further out of control with their financials, and right now you're not on their priority list to resolve this money matter with, honey. As much as I think we all would like people who we make promises to, or people who we have faith and belief in, and who we are actively trying to support and do the right thing. We can always try to encourage and support them to also do better in themselves by making good on those promises. Unfortunately, Kimberly Dobbs, in this particular situation, I'm just not seeing the money coming back into hands, love. Personally, if I was in this position, I would write it off and see it as a learning lesson, and that you paid education to learn it, because you know you're never going to do this again. Okay? Wish you all the best of luck, darling. The minute that you let go of this money matter financial issue, you will see that money will start to come back into your hands. It's creating a bit of a blockage for you. If you hold on to it and you keep focusing, or you keep looking at that money as a negative, in fact, will continuously bring more negative to you. Need you to transition it now and say, you know what, I'm done with that, so that you can start moving your financials back on track in a more positive way, which you most definitely can do, Del. Okay? Del, Sarah, you're more than welcome. Yes, sweetheart, you take that big breath, okay? Yeah, definitely plate full, definitely a lot on your shoulders, but you'll definitely get there, love. Lisa K, can I have some insight into my relationship? Your relationship is a little bit difficult, love. A lot of it comes back down to communication with this particular person. Definitely interested, still got a little bit of early days around it. We're still kind of navigating our expectation, thoughts, views of this relationship. One of the things I am finding for both of you is your belief systems are a little bit off track. Like, one's really open-minded, one's really spiritual, one's very much a forward thinker, one goes with the flow. The other one doesn't like change. The other partner very much is a little bit stuck, a little bit fixed, and a little bit too regimented. Now, that doesn't mean that it's negative. It just means that you've got to find your rhythm with each other so that there's a little bit more acceptance with some of those challenges. Other than that, it can definitely work. There's no reason why in partnership or in relationship we can't get a little bit further ahead than some of the boundaries that we've put here. I keep being shown your walls really quite high, sweetheart, and that comes from old hurt, old relationships and old trauma, that now you've got new partner, a new person in your life. Some of their behaviors and some of the things that they say and do, you're still having a reaction, but it's actually from past relationship rather than this particular character. So be mindful of what the other person's still bringing up out of you, in which are lessons you need to heal from. Heal from those experiences of the past. Recognize that current partner might be drawing it out so that the relationship can actually take off properly. Okay. Okay, so hi Kat, you're asking, would like to know if I'll find my soulmate in 2021. Kat, soulmates are really complicated because soulmates are not how most other people describe them, okay? Your soulmate can be a mother, and a soulmate can be a friend, a soulmate can be a child. A soulmate does come in multitude of different platforms, right? I can't say that you haven't already found certain soulmates currently, okay? Then we talk about things like twin flames. Twin flame is a person to whom in your spirit world, you and that person agreed to have a bond and connection with each other. You leave a piece of yourselves with them. We call it a shard, if you will. And then when you come back into this world, then you actively seek out to find each other. Now, soulmates, twin flames, it doesn't always necessarily mean that they are ideal romantic relationships. It just means that there's a soul agreement with each other, that you connect back into this physical life to learn certain things, or simply because you had such a lovely connection in the spirit realm or in a past life realm, it'll be great to reconnect with them in this one. Now, what you're really asking is, will you be in a position in 2021 to find a fitting partner that works with all your personality attributes, where their personality attributes are complementary, okay? There's definitely relationship on the horizon for you, which is really good to see. The gentleman is of similar age, maturity-wise, but he's actually, in fact, a little bit older than you. It just means that he can be funny, he can be silly, he can be a little bit playful in his nature. There's been a few little relationships, ups and downs for him in the past, so I do feel that there'll be a little bit of reservedness from him. You may pick up initially at the beginning of the relationship a sense of not committing, or a sense of just kind of holding back a little bit. Don't misread that as deceit or something that he's hiding, because that's not the situation. Well, in a sense, he's kind of just hiding from himself in a way. But what I'm being shown is he's waiting to make sure that every aspect of the relationship is complementary. And he's doing that by observation. He's doing that by listening and hearing and talking with you. I'm a big believer that in relationship, you rip the Band-Aid off. Okay, so all you single people out there, if you're getting back out there in the dating world, it's really important that date one, you throw all your cards on the table, right? I know a lot of people say, oh, but what if that person runs? What if they don't want to go on a second date? Well, my theory is they're not worthy of a second date. If that person doesn't align up with you, with your things in your life that are important, they shouldn't be a part of your life, because you can't change somebody's mind, right? So let's say hypothetically, you're dating somebody, and day one, you say to them, look, I eventually want to have kids. If that person doesn't want to have kids, they're never going to change their mind, right? Better to know right up at the beginning that this person isn't in natural alignment with your life goals. You want to put out for somebody who has these things in place that match with the things in place with you. Okay, don't lower your standards either. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're a little bit intimidating for men, I'm being told, okay? So sometimes a male or female, whatever, they may want to approach you, but the energy that you give off is actually that you're in a relationship. So just be mindful of that. That comes with the fact you're confident. It comes from the fact that you're attractive. And the assumption is that you're most likely already in a relationship. So just tweak your flirt radar a little bit for me, because when you're out and about and you're with your girlfriends and so forth, you're very engaged with what everybody else is doing, but you're not reading the room around you to see who might actually have eyes on you. And the hard part for you, Kat, is that the person that you meet, you're meeting them organically, okay? There's no online thing, there is no pre-date, there is no knowing them through other people. It is just a straight up connection with this person, and you'll just pretty much go from there. So organic meets are a little bit more complicated, still very old-fashioned and old school, and I do love that they're still out there and that we're not completely reliant on everything. Okay, Sassy, I do see that you've come back in a couple of different times, and you have put it in question form relevant to you now, which is really good. You've put here, should I ignore my feelings and stay in the marriage? Okay. Sassy, I think that you need to really stop and address what's going on in that marriage. If you have found comfort in another person, it is because the marriage or the relationship that you're currently in is lacking in something. And you need to be in a space with that person of whom you're married to, where you can address those matters. finding a void external from that person doesn't make any of the problems go away, okay? I would highly recommend that you be candid, you be open, and you be honest in that marriage, because it's very unfair to the other person who is in that relationship with you, who believes that their relationship looks a certain way, when in fact their relationship doesn't look like that picture at all. I don't feel it's a situation of you need to ignore your feelings. I think it's quite the opposite. You need to acknowledge what is really going on with your feelings, what is really going on with your physical self that is making you seek or find comfort in the arms of another person. We don't simply just fall into the arms of another person for no reason. There has to have been fractions or cracks or damage or problems in that marriage in order for you to seek comfort elsewhere. So you need to look at those problems in that marriage and first ask, what can you be doing to fix that, right? And if you genuinely can't fix it, then you need to really look at whether or not you walk away. And if you do choose to walk away, you need to walk away for you, not for somebody else that's filling the void, not for children, not for anybody else, just for you. Because for every action that you're creating, you're also creating not just current trauma for yourself, which is what you're going through with all your mixed emotions, okay? But you're creating a layer of trauma for every other person that you're then connecting with, okay? So in saying that, I think definitely sit with your feelings. I think you need to really solidly address what's going on in your personal world that is making you unhappy, because bottom line is you're not happy in this marriage, or at least parts of this marriage, okay? And you need to then be honest with yourself, and by being honest with yourself, you also then equally are honest with all other parties involved, okay? So that is your greatest key to this, all right? Oh, Diane Clark, you're more than welcome, Joe. Keeping going. Oh, Dee Patterson, hi, it's me again. I got goosebumps when you mentioned my name. Been trying to have kids, but I haven't, and now I'm almost thinking of losing hope. Sweetheart, I definitely see where you're coming in from. Without getting into all of your medical, they do show me that there was a little bit of fibroid or a little bit of something there on the right side. I'm not sure if I'm being mirrored at the moment because I'm working on a screen. On the right side of the women's area. There still seems to be a little bit of bloating and a little bit of hormones that aren't quite on the right path, but they tell me that you're looking into alternative measures now, and that there's been a little bit of discussion about what that can look like and what that can be. I don't feel right now you rule it out completely, because on the other side, there is actually a little one assigned to you. It's about getting it all kind of right between you and partner and that little one to make it all kind of walk in the right place. Without getting into all the personals, because I don't really like doing that in this kind of a platform. But I do see that there's been 2 pregnancies that were unsuccessful. So that would be like miscarriage or something along those lines. That's actually a positive in my part, because it means that the miscarriages are also allowing the uterus to fall itself into place, and also cleanse out the uterus accordingly to make room for a little one and so on. And also, it does mean that conception is possible. So I don't feel that you can't conceive. For whatever reason, the little one on this side is a little bit picky about their entry into the world. And believe it or not, your entry into the world is a big deal, okay? When you start school, when you go to kinder, school, high school, university, career pathways, it's all about all the souls that you've got pre-agreements with, right? Different friendships, and which goes back a little bit to what I was talking about with soulmates and so forth. Your little one is being a little bit picky, sweetheart. Please don't completely give up your hope at this stage, okay? They're showing me we do need to keep pushing it in the right direction, okay? Okay, looking at one more thing here. Sorry, I just need to move myself for one split second. The lighting on there isn't very good, and I'm just going to see if I can alter it. Sorry, everybody, for that. Just have to move myself. Kimberly Dobbs, you're more than welcome, honey. Yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. I do have to keep moving because obviously I can only go until 7. Please do join me next week and we'll try to get back on track to answering some of these other questions that have been here today. Stay heavenly, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience with me. Lovely to see so many people watching and so many people joining in. Please do remember, if you are connecting with me next week and you're coming in online, I really need you to think through your question, okay? Keeping your questions reasonably private and not so personalized on these sort of platforms are really important if you read my notes a little bit later. Also thinking through your questions in a way that the question can promote an answer, okay? Don't say, can I have general? Don't say, are you drawn to me? Don't say any of those sort of things, because my guides, they don't have time to go, oh, okay, what about this person, okay? Occasionally there'll be a name that comes up in the name vibration, doesn't always require something. Say, for example, we've got Sue Ryder. The energy has come up a number of times for her, but they keep showing me it's more because Sue is actually equally spiritual. So there's a lot of things that she probably could have answered here. My guides are just drawn to her because of her natural vibration, her energy. She does bring a lot of positive love and attention, but sometimes she's not so confident in herself. So just as an example of what can happen here. Again, there are so many different people that I would have loved to address and love to have come to, but unfortunately I just don't have the physical time. And this is why it is so important, write it as a question, okay? If you can write it as a question, I can actually really bring things out with solid speed, okay? We've got happy heavenly birthday, Dad. Tamara, you're more than welcome. As you already know, your dad is the one that was sharing some message with you earlier on. So much love to you all. Mwah, thank you so much. Lisa, I hope you did take on board what was shared with you today and really work through some of that past and some of those elements of trauma and how that's colliding a little bit into current relationship rather than tabling and going, okay, that's of the past, okay? Thank you all again. I will do my best to get through some of these other bits and pieces. I'll do my best. Sue Ryder, as I mentioned earlier, I've just now come down to a little bit on my scroll here. It says, my daughter is in constant pain. Will she ever get relief or a cure? Unfortunately, Sue, your daughter is a natural healer, and she has to go through a lot of what she's experiencing in order to know how to heal herself before she can heal others. It comes with the healer's hand. I am being shown she does suffer from like a fiber or fibromyalgia or muscle or muscular issues, and it is about change and shift in dietary, which I can see you've already implemented. There is no real cure for what she's got, sweetheart. It does come from holistic health. I would suggest reading a book called The Reconnection by Dr. Eric Pearl. It's a really good book in regards to connecting healing and medical and all of those bits and pieces together. Gentleman's actually a doctor who actually realized that he was quite gifted spiritually, and he just goes through a few little things that I think, Sue, you would definitely benefit in regards with your daughter. But I keep being shown muscular. Everything is very muscular for her, and the ability to keep her active and be fit and do all the things that she used to do is really bloody hard work. So you keep going. All right. Someone's just commented, I've got that book. I hope whoever's got it absolutely has a lot of love for it. That book's followed me around for many, many years. Would love to actually get into reading it more frequently, but I just look like everybody a little bit time for. Okay. Kelly Kimball Kerr, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I'm not still taking questions. I do have to jump off and keep moving. Like I said to everyone earlier, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming in. Would absolutely love if next week, if you're going to join me at 6 o'clock, please do your best to write it as a question. And the other thing that I'm going to recommend that you all do is try not to come in and like constantly ask a question, because what happens is as I'm scrolling, the next person's question sort of like disappears a little bit, and then I kind of have to scroll back up, right? Please know, if I'm going to come to you, only have to comment on there one time, right? And then I will definitely get around to seeing it, or at least reading it. Sometimes when I get some downtime and Spirit gives me the opportunity to sit with these comments, I may come back and message you privately saying, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then you'll find that if there's something I didn't do in a public platform like this, Spirit may still want to come back to answering that a little bit later, okay? If you do want to do private sessions, Heavenly Connected, link is somewhere in amongst all of that there. Otherwise, please do tune in next week. We'd love to see some beautiful familiar faces. And of course, don't forget to share me around with all your friends, and let's get those messages really moving so that Spirit can bring them out to you as quickly as possible. Please remember, I don't use cards, okay? So you do have to be patient. If you see me pause, if you see me waiting, it's because I'm dealing with images and I'm dealing with auditory all at the same time. And I'm also sometimes working with different languages. I can't remember exactly who it was that I dealt with before, but I had a second language, and then I had to also get a little bit of translation going on there as well. Okay, thank you so much for all your patience. Whoever's apologizing for overloading me with lots of questions, that's okay. I will do my absolute best to answer you guys, but please make sure one question, one person, and then we'll try to get through them. If I come back and I say, hey, you know, blah, 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 can I come back to you? I'll definitely come back to you if I have time for it. You're all beautiful souls. As I said before, stay heavenly, and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.